Hello guys, we're going to be looking at Cleric tanking today. This is the Cleric tanking for Storm Legion. We're just going to jump into a tier 2 and have a look at it. This is a new level 50 Cleric, only hit 50 a couple of days ago, so you should have similar gear to the sort of gear you have. So we're in Realm of the Fae here. Pulling straight off the bat. Obviously the best thing to do when you're a tank is try and get yourself in first. You've got to get yourself in first, guys, otherwise you might end up losing threat to somebody, especially if you're with higher DPS damage dealers. So, here we are trying to ball our mobs up. Hammer of Faith, excellent long-ranged AoE attack. There we are, balling our mobs up into a pile. That enables the DPS to put out more AoE damage and get them down faster. We have got one straggler, but we'll deal with him in due course. So here we are, straight off the bat again. Hammer of Duty, excellent damage from that, 2k hit. Pulling it around the corner, up to the next pack. Hit those with Hammer of Faith. You can usually get about 4 or 5 mobs with Hammer of Faith. It's excellent threat, straight off the bat. These guys are pretty much under-geared, probably about the same level as I am on this Cleric, but if they were higher level geared, if they were, you know, in ID gear or HK gear, I'd probably be doing enough threat to hold aggro, because I've been running with some of my guild who have got that sort of level of gear. But obviously the key to holding aggro well is to, you know, get your threat in there right off the bat. So here we go again, trying to ball the mobs up, get them all in a nice big pile, big ball of death, and AoE them down. I'm using Censure to generate AoE threat. And we go around the corner, line of sight, the last few of them in. I'm conscious of my healing, of course. Originally, when clerics were tanking, we used to use Doctrine of Loyalty, but recently that's no longer necessary. We can use Censure, because that actually generates more threat, because it heals more. If you're using Censure on lots of targets, then you'll be generating more threat and doing more AoE healing than you would be if you were spamming Doctrine of Loyalty. So Trickster Mellow. Again, nice easy boss. Now switch to sort of single target mode here. And you can see by the DPS meter that we've got one guy in the group, a mage, who's not really doing very much damage at all. He's only doing slightly more damage than I am. But that might be because he's in a support build. I don't know, haven't looked. Go on, Trickster Melo, go down. Honestly, the DPS you get in pugs these days. But this is very promising. It's looking very promising for Storm Legion, this build. This is the last day before Storm Legion launches, so I just thought I'd make a video about it. So there we go, we killed Trickster Melo. So we're straight out the door there. And the rest of the group isn't even anywhere near me. Getting there first, that's the main thing about being a tank. I mean, look at them, they're all behind, but my healer's close by. I hope. I don't know, I didn't check. Nope, my healer's not even in range of me. Oh yeah, he is, he's in range now. So we're moving on, moving on. No point just standing there and tanking, guys. There's absolutely no point in that at all. You want to be getting as many mobs as you can. If you're new to tanking as a cleric, then the best thing for you to do is to use Doctrine of Loyalty if there's anything sort of straggling away. So it'll give you a nice big burst of threat. So as you can see, we've got a couple of stragglers there, but they're clinging on to me because I'm using Doctrine of Loyalty every so often. But Censure's generating enough threat to hold those on me. Not too bothered about those stragglers at the moment, and the DPS isn't really focusing on them either, so it's no problem. So this is where it gets fun. We're gonna trying to pull all of these mobs out onto this bit here. So there's a Hammer of Faith in there, and they all come round the corner. Doctrine of Loyalty. Anything that's not in my line of sight will get hit by Doctrine of Loyalty. And now they're all in a nice pile. DPS are ignoring the ones in the background. They're fine. They're not hitting anybody other than me. Everything's under control. That's the beauty of being a cleric, guys. You've got control over everything, and that's what you want to be as a tank. You want to be having absolute control. You have absolute power over the party. Dragging those guys over here, bringing them all into a nice big pile. Same again. AoE, AoE, AoE. I did pop my cooldown there because I was conscious of my health. Healer's got me back under control. Just going around the corner once more. If you've never done Realm of the Fae before, it is quite a good instance. I used to hate tanking it as a warrior because I originally levelled as a warrior, and I do have a fully ID geared warrior and a fully HK geared rogue. This Cleric's a relatively new addition to my characters, but warriors just aren't fun for me anymore, guys. It's just not fun to tank with. So I thought I might change, and what better time to change than before going into Storm Legion. Clerics are excellent now, guys, so really good for tanking, really fun. It's not just doll and lol anymore. There's actually a lot more to it. So I'm not even waiting to kill these guys. I'm going to go straight over to the boss and pull him onto the trash. And bear in mind, this Cleric's gear is entry level to tier 2. I don't even think he's got any raid gear yet. Or she, who's a woman, or whatever. Now this boss is very simple. His only mechanic is that he summons this purpley mist on the floor, and you've got to move out of that. I mean, I can probably stand in it, but I'm moving out of it so that this other guy, this melee DPS, is going to come out of it as well. That's one of the things you've got to be wary of when you're a tank, is it's okay for you to stand in things sometimes, but it's not okay for the DPS to stand in things, because they haven't got as much health as you. And there he is, standing in it again, so I'm moving the boss. And he'll move with it. Even if he's not aware that he's standing in dangerous AoE, he will move if I move, because he's got to be in range to hit the boss. So again, first out the door. I did manage to get River of Souls Conqueror the other day. Saved me buying a mount. This is one of the reasons I like Realm of the Fae, because there's quite a lot of mobs in here, so you can get some really nice big pulls, and if you've got a good healer, they can keep you up. Or if you've got a better geared tank, it's no problem. A Cleric with full ID gear is probably going to have twice as much health as me, and they'll be able to sustain themselves. Probably wouldn't even need a healer. Health's getting low, so I'll pop the cooldown. Doll, get myself back up to health. Healer's got me under control. I'm just going to start rounding up these guys, get them into a nice big pile. Can I go for more? Probably. And I've got some guys out my range. I'm going to doll a little bit, maybe. Doll? I should be dolling. I should be dolling. My life depended on it because my health's low. But in they come. So I'll bring those guys over to them. Make sure the DPS are hitting the maximum number of mobs possible. And that's all it is, because They can be doing their rotations and passing away, pass, but you are in control of how many mobs they are hitting. You have to assume when you go in for a pug that the DPS don't know what they're doing, they don't know how to achieve their best results, so you've got to help them along your way. And that is the beauty of being a tank, guys. You've got a massive amount of control over what happens in the instance. So we're at this boss, and I think somebody hit it before I did, or started the encounter. I hope so, because that was fucking awful. But there we go. Dull to get those guys in. I used to hate this boss as a warrior because the wasps would go everywhere. Somebody had stupidly hit them and you'd never be able to tank them all. Because people just don't know what they're doing. That's one of the problems with tanking, is that it's almost like you're babysitting 4 people through an instance. And you can do that as a tank. You can make or break the instance. Fortunately, after having seen the extras of the Storm Queen, I think the PvE in Storm Legion is going to be a bit more intelligent than the PvE we're used to. I mean, this is an old instance. It's relatively simple, it's just mostly tank and spank. But the trash in Storm Legion itself is a bit more intelligent. So again, rounding things up, death ball, death ball, death ball, bomb them all down, pouring out AoE. Get some pretty nice damage on Hammer of Faith. It's one of the best new toys. 1337 crit there. Fighting Antrophenus. Again, it's a very easy boss fight. He knocks me back. I'm not going to move back. I could plant myself against a wall if I wanted to, but why bother? He's knocking me back towards the door. I can't be bothered to move, so I'll just let the knockbacks take me to my next destination. You've got to kill his lackeys before you kill him, otherwise they heal him. I think somebody's attacking Antrophenus because his health's going down, so somebody's obviously not sure of what to do. I think as a tank, people expect you to sort of know everything about the instance. And if you do, that's great, but if you don't, sometimes things can go tits up. It will be interesting to tank the new instances in Storm Legion, though. I am curious to see how they'll work out. Especially if nobody knows what to do. Be interesting. Like Burning Crusade all over again. Although Burning Crusade had some pretty simple trash. The instances in Burning Crusade weren't particularly hard, but I mean, that's a different game completely. And there we go, conveniently knocked to my next destination. Don't know whether I needed that helm or not. Might have been an upgrade, might not have. So I'm into this ridiculously low visibility area here. I used to absolutely hate this as a warrior because it was so hard to tank this bit. With all of the mobs, you never know quite whether you're in range of somebody or not. But as a cleric, that's not a problem because you can just doll and everything comes to you. And apart from that little clusterfuck on the tree boss, I don't think I've lost aggro at all. I mean, to be honest, since I hit 50, I've done quite a lot of tier 2s, and I don't think I've lost aggro at all, ever. Really, it just doesn't happen. As a cleric, you just don't lose aggro, you do so much threat. And by the time anyone starts hitting the mobs, by the time the DPS have even realised that you're actually attacking something, you've generated so much threat you are miles ahead of them. To this day, I still don't know what you're supposed to do on this boss. I mean, I just tank things. Been playing Rift for 18 months. Or more, even. Might be more, yeah, well, nearly more, nearly 2 years. So we've got this pack here. Building some convictions and using Hammer of Faith. I'm not going to wait for this pack to die, I'm just going to move on to the next one, because that's all you need to do. I mean, at the end of the day, once you've done all of the threat that you need to do, once you've generated enough threat to hold the mob on you, and you know that it's gonna die before it peels off you, you don't need to stand there, you can just go, and yeah, there they go, they're running away, and I'm thinking, what do I do? And then I dol once, and they come back to me. Bring this little straggler in. Best thing about melee mobs is that you can ball them up really, really easily. Remember, this is the last patch in the dungeon. Last patch? Pack. Last pack in the dungeon. You'll eventually get used to being able to walk backwards through every single dungeon in the game, because it's, you backpedal as a tank. It's just something that you do. If you're speed clearing, then you'll definitely backpedal a lot. If you can do a dungeon backwards, you're a good tank. Here we are, a bit of a cutscene going on here. This is Lord Twill. He's the last boss of Primeval Feast as well, which is a now redundant 10-man raid. I think we're having an interesting discussion about Shamblers here. So this is a multi-phased boss. It's actually fairly simple. You've got to kill the avatars of autumn, summer, winter, and spring. And then you kill Twill himself. This is the summer guy, the fire guy. Again, it's very simple, tank and spank. And then we just lost somebody. He fell off. Ladies and gentlemen, he fell off. Nobody says anything for a while, and then I finally ask whether or not he fell off or not. Because I looked for his corpse, I tried to res him, and I realised, yeah, did you fall off? And everybody else finds it hilarious. Let's hope he gets back in time before we kill the boss. So we're nearly done here. We've got one more guy coming. Is he on the map yet? No. Avatar of Spring. And then we'll fight Twill himself as soon as he comes out. And on the whole, this run's taken 20 minutes, not long at all. Long enough for a rapid assault. Or quick enough, I should say, for a rapid assault. And Twill's fairly simple. I mean, you've just got to avoid... We don't even really have to avoid those little tornado things. Those are the Fey Tempests. If you avoid those, you get the achievement. I've already got the achievement, but I still like to avoid them just out of good practice. Because I've got nothing better to do, really. This one's coming for me. Quickly move to the left. And I'm backing out. And I'm like, no, no, stop following me. No, no. And he's dead. And that is Realm of the Fae.